What is good, YouTube? It's your boy DC, and I am back with another episode of 5 Up, 5 Down. And in this episode, this is going to be the Resident Evil 7 edition. This is one where I'm going to name 5 things I liked about Resident Evil 7, and then I'm going to top it off with the 5 things that I did not like about Resident Evil 7. But anyway, just to give you guys a little background, man, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I have been for a long time. I've played pretty much every Resident Evil there was. Including like the little stragglers too that wasn't very good at all. But I just gave them a shot just because of the Resident Evil name. And honestly, man, I was kind of going back and forth about this game. I was seriously considering not getting it just because I saw the gameplay and it didn't seem like something that really interests me. Although they were like really touting the whole going back to their roots thing. It was just something, it didn't really grasp me like that. But, then I thought, going against my better judgment, I thought I would go ahead and pick it up anyway, man. Because like I said, what kind of fan would I be if I didn't at least give the game a chance? I remember, going back and forth, battling on the message boards and stuff, saying, I didn't think it was going to be good, and all you heard was, oh, just give it a chance, just how do you know you haven't even played it yet, so I heard all that, and to a degree they were right, you have to, how can you, just kind of write something off, unless you've played it. But on the reverse side of that, man, I've been gaming for a long time, so I know what kind of things that are going to grasp me. So, but even so, with that being said, man, I still gave the game a shot. I played it. A lot of you may know, I guess the few people that do follow me, I did, play quite a few episodes on cam. Unfortunately, man, I did not finish it on cam. I had, some things pop up. So I had to, I just went ahead and beat it off cam. And now I've come back to, I guess, just give my opinion on it. What I feel about this game. One thing I could say is I'm glad I played it, but it might not be for the reasons that you guys think. So stay tuned and let's jump into it. All right, so the first things off my likes list is going to be the item boxes and the safe rooms. I find this a welcome re-addition to the series. As you guys know, a lot of the older Resident Evils had this feature in there, where you kind of had a safe room and, right there, it's a typewriter, you could save your game and, dig in the item box, throw some stuff in that maybe you don't need at the moment, take some stuff out. It's just a cool, like I say, reintroduction to that feature that's been missing for the last couple of games. So it was nice to see that, man. Like I say, they took a little bit from the past. And reincorporated it back into the game, which, like I say, so I was very glad to see that. All right, and coming up at number 2 on my likes list was. Some of the puzzles were actually pretty good. Now, I did not like that twisty thing. I didn't like that at all. But, a lot of the other ones, like the stuff that was like on the tapes, the flashbacks and stuff. Mainly the birthday party one, man. I thought that was really cool. I actually liked that one a lot. So it's just, it really, like I said, it brought back some of that nostalgia, with solving the puzzles and stuff like that. They weren't exactly done, maybe how, I guess how the old games did them. But, they were still pretty enjoyable, at least some of them anyway. So that's number 2. All right, so coming in at number 3 is going to be the no chapter progression, just one big area kind of deal. I really did not like the chapter progression. I think that it started pretty much at Resident Evil 4, and that was one of the main things I did not like. I love having just the one big area where you can kind of run around and backtrack. You can leave items, like if you can't carry them, come back and get them later. A lot of that, they took a lot of that out with the newer more action oriented Resident Evils, because, you know, it's like you pretty much progressing, and then once you beat that chapter, I mean, you know, that's, you know, I mean, you moving on to the next. I mean, unless you want to reload it. I mean, I just prefer the one big area where you just kind of explore, you know, and find different keys, you know, to unlock certain areas. You know, if you can't do it at that moment, then you know, go another route, then you come back to it later. I mean, and like I said, that was one of the biggest things for me that I loved about the old games, because, you know, not only was, you know, did it give you a sense of like exploration, but, you know, I mean, you come back and sometimes, you know, things have changed, whether it be a new enemy there or, you know, a chance for a jump scare, you know, anything like that. I mean, that's what really, you know, kind of caught that Resident Evil flavor for me. So, I mean, I really enjoyed that they, you know, kind of went back to that, you know, as opposed to staying with the chapter progression stuff. So that's number 3. All right. So coming in at number 4, and I already kind of mentioned this in the last one, was the whole using the tapes for flashbacks. I thought that was a really cool addition to the series. I mean, it's awesome, you know, to, I guess, get to see what kind of happened, you know, prior to Ethan, I guess, arriving to the house and everything. And, you know what I'm saying, giving you a little bit of backstory, man, you know, as opposed to just, you know, finding the files and reading about everything. It was cool, like, you know, to get to play through some of the story, you know, I guess, in past tense, to kind of, you know, see what happened, what led up to the events, man. So, I mean, that was really creative feature in there that they added, man. And I really like that. So that's number 4. All right, and the last thing I like coming in at number 5 was pretty much just how the story was very, you know, in line with Resident Evil. I mean, it was very Resident Evil-ish. Is pretty much what you expect from a Resident Evil game. So I do applaud them for that. I mean, like I said, I mean, it pretty much stayed on par with what I guess fans would expect, regardless if you played the first one or Resident Evil 6. I mean, it's still pretty much, you know, the same bioterrorist kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that was cool that, you know, they didn't try to shift too far from, you know, I mean, what they were known for in that aspect, story-wise anyway. But anyway, that's going to do it for the 5 likes. Now we're going to go to the dark side, you know, and get to the dislikes. All right. So now it's time for the 5 dislikes. And the first thing on my list coming in, I'm going to go ahead and get this out the way and go ahead and address it, because it kind of, I guess, falls in line with the other things that I'm going to mention as well. But camera angle. The change of the camera angle from third person to first person. Honestly, man, I just feels like it was so disingenuous. I mean, it just feels like, you know, Capcom was pretty much just chasing trends. I mean, and they're, you know, known for doing that. I mean, if you look at, you know, Resident Evil 5 and 6, and how they were saying that, you know, I guess they wanted to kind of Resident Evil to appeal to that Call of Duty crowd or whatever. So they switched, you know, from, you know, more of a survival horror, you know, puzzle solver kind of thing to, I guess, more action heavy games. I mean, and it just shows. So, I mean, they're not above chasing trends. I mean, and I feel like that's what the change of the camera angle was. I mean, like I said, it does not feel genuine at all. I mean, and honestly, like a lot of scenarios is really unnecessary. I mean, because why do you think, you know, like say Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, or whatever, Code Veronica, all those games, they managed, you know, to be, especially Resident Evil 2, I mean, it managed to be, you know, scary, give you the jump scares and all that without the first person camera angle. I mean, it was done well. I mean, so like I said, I really don't feel like this move was genuine. It was just like Capcom just chasing trends. They looked and saw, you know, I guess the warm reception that, you know, stuff like PT got, and as well as, you know, I mean, I guess the other games in the genre you got with Slender Man and Outlast, you know, stuff like that. It just looked like they just looked at that and was like, okay, well, this is what everybody's on, so we're gonna jump on the same page. I mean, instead of, you know, trying to carve their own lane, look, like how they got their core fans. I mean, they just kind of, like I said, it just seems like they went from trendsetters to trend chasers. I mean, and that honestly, that's just how it feels to me. I mean, playing the game and just going through it, it doesn't feel genuine at all. I mean, so and it's just funny because this is just one of the things that I mean, I just feel like Capcom. I honestly feel like that if the next horror, I guess horror game or genre, or whatever, if it switches to like just aliens or something, I guarantee you the next Resident Evil game is going to be about aliens. That's just how I feel. I mean, that's how bad they are with their trend chasing. So, yeah, I mean, the view thing really, messed me up. But I mean, it was for more reasons than, just like it being a drastic change or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, that's first and foremost. Glad I got that out the way. Now we're going to move on to number 2. All right, so coming in at number 2 is going to be the lack of enemy variety, man. This game, it was pretty scarce, in terms of, I guess, just enemies. I mean, because all you pretty much had, it was like the infected, molded people. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, it just didn't seem like it really gave enough. I mean, you had kind of, I guess, different varieties of them of sorts, maybe, but I mean, like I said, it still just wasn't really a lot of variety in enemies. I mean, so there was really like no change in tactic that you really had to take other than like, I guess from the standing molded people to the, I guess the ones that kind of crawl or whatever. I mean, just aim lower. I mean, that's pretty much the strategy for it. I mean, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't really a lot there, I guess, what I'm saying, in a way of it. So, I mean, it got kind of boring to a degree. I mean, to fight. And honestly, that was one of the main reasons why I struggled to finish this game. I mean, it became like almost like a chore to play versus being something that, I actually enjoyed. I mean, and it was just like I said, I didn't feel like it was enough to keep my interest. But anyway, that's number 2. Now we're going to rock on to number 3. And coming in at number 3 is going to be just the crazy amount of cheap hits that you got from this game, man. I mean, the combat was severely lacking, man. I mean, for, I guess, lack of a better term. I mean, it's just like, there was really no real way to, I guess, kind of, maneuver and maybe dodge attacks. I mean, the running was terrible. I mean, Ethan ran like a 5-year-old girl. I mean, it's like, you would seem like there would be some sense of urgency, like if you're in this very, drastic situation that he was in where you going up against bio monsters and stuff. I mean, it's just like, he kept the same little, jog. And it was pretty much like you really couldn't outrun anything for the most part. I mean, it was just, so it really forced you to take like a lot of cheap hits, man. I mean, it's just like the best you could do was, seriously, man. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know, like, what they were thinking on that aspect. I mean, but like it just, it felt like I said, I mean, it was just, you took a lot of cheap hits, wasted a lot of unnecessary ammo. I mean, if you wanted to, I guess kill these things or whatever. I mean, so like I said, combat was definitely probably one of my least favorite things about this game. All right, number 4. All right, so coming in number 4 is going to be the coin currency system, I guess, for like, I guess buying the little things in the bird cage. Didn't really care for that, man. I mean, it's like, trying to find these coins just so you can get a magnum. I mean, I'd rather, do some other kind of crafting or, just solve a puzzle to get it versus having to do that. I mean, because honestly, I never got the magnum. I think I fell 1 coin short of getting it. And it's like, I just felt cheated almost, like, man, I collect all these coins and feed them into this machine, and it's like, and I come up 1 coin short. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I wish they would have went a different route with that. I mean, it was just, what I'm saying. I mean, it made things tedious where it really didn't have to be. But anyway, that is number 4, and get ready for the finale. All right, and lastly, coming in at number 5, man. I think I just would have liked to have seen like a more in-depth crafting system. Especially in the way of like how you do ammo, and whether it's like stuff like lock picks and stuff like that. I mean, it just would have been, I think, a little better to be able to craft that kind of stuff versus having to find it, in weird places, like, it just, like I said, it really would have been better, if you were able to craft those kind of things. I mean, I think that would have made the game a lot better. That way you could kind of, save the secrets for other stuff. I mean, you go through all this, stuff just to find a lockpick, and it's just like, really? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just don't seem like, I guess, the thing. Then you finally use the lockpick to unlock something, and it's just like, some shotgun shells or something that you could have just found in like a barrel. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it was really underwhelming to that degree. I mean, so that was, like I say, one of the things. And also, man, I mean, I was really hoping, I guess, for more melee weapons. Especially seeing as how this game kind of makes you like waste a lot of ammo. So it'd have been cool, like, maybe if you wanted to conserve some ammo, that you could, like maybe craft like some melee weapons and stuff like that, or just being able to use some in general. I mean, because I was so excited. Like, that was one of the most exciting times, like when me and Jack had the chainsaw fight. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get to keep this chainsaw. Then next thing you know, you have to open the gate with it, and it tears up the chainsaw, and you don't have a chainsaw anymore. And it's like, so you're just really back to a basic pocket knife. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe this is just me, but that was just one of the things. I mean, I really wasn't too fond of. I mean, I wish they would have done a little better. Like I said, with the crafting and melee weapons and stuff like that. I think it would have been a cool addition to be able to maybe craft some melee stuff. But anyway, that's going to do it for the dislikes. Overall, man, like I said, this game, it was slightly above okay for me. I mean, honestly. And truth being told, it's something that I probably would never play again. It's just, there's not enough to make me want to go back through it. Like I said, it just didn't really do it for me. It's funny because, it's like they did a lot of, I guess, touting the whole going back to their roots thing. Oh, it's just, this game really goes to show you that just because, you, I guess, implement certain features or whatever, or things, like the item boxes and stuff like that, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate and give you that, that old school Resident Evil feel, because I didn't feel any of that. Like the whole going back to the roots thing. I didn't feel any of that. Seriously, like to this day, I still play Resident Evil 1, like from time to time. I just go through it because it was that much of a phenomenal game for me. But this, like I said, it just did not touch me in the same way. And again, I was talking to a guy about this, I think on a message board or something, where, he was like, yeah, they got this, and this from all the old games. So, how can it not translate? Look, just because, like, you use the same ingredients as a chef doesn't mean your food is going to taste as good as that chef. You kind of get what I'm saying? Just because things are implemented, like, you take something from one game, and put it in another, doesn't mean it's going to translate into success, the same success that game had. So, like I said, it was just one, I didn't get that feeling at all from this game. It just felt like a average horror game to me. I mean, honestly, like I said, I mean, if it wasn't for the Resident Evil name, I would never have, you know what I'm saying? I mean, even in my wildest thoughts, think of this as a Resident Evil game. But, like I said, I mean, in the end, man, like I said, I mean, I tried to play this on cam, like I said, for all of my subscribers, you know what I'm saying, the people that did, you know, watch the Resident Evil series that I put out, man. I mean, guys, I really tried, man. I mean, I tried to tough it out, but I mean, like I said earlier, man, it just seemed like it became far less enjoyable and more of a chore to get through this game, man. I mean, and it's like, even when I played it off cam, I just found myself just wanting it to be over, just like, oh, just hurry up, just hurry up. You know what I mean? Every time I had another little part, I'm like, oh, God. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's like, when it gets like that, I mean, I just know that this game is not for me. And I could truly say that now since I have played through it. So, you know, I'm not just saying, you know, like, oh, I just don't like it or whatever, you know, because they changed a few things or whatever. No, I mean, like I said, after going through it, I can truly say that, you know what I'm saying, this is not something for me. Not saying it is not great for somebody else, but just me. I mean, no, like I said, I probably will never play this game again outside of like, now if they have like some interesting DLC, maybe. I mean, I understand. I think they're coming out with the one with Chris Redfield, which looks freaking ridiculous too, man, by the way. That's a terrible character design. I don't know who did it. But yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, it looks like trash. But again, that's just me. I say, you ain't got to throw hate at me, you know what I'm saying, because I don't think the same way you do, or, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel like the game was awesome, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, you know what I say to your hate anyway? Yeah, that's right, take that. And ain't nothing you can do now. But nah, man, like I said, man, bottom line is I just don't think this one's for me. And if this is how the game is going to be moving forward, I honestly can't see myself continuing to support this series. So there you have it, man. I mean, that's my take on it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, I hope I didn't offend anybody, you know, hurt any feelings. Don't get butt hurt. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate you guys for rocking with me and, you know, checking out. You know, let me share my thoughts around my mouth. But anyway, man, like I said, it's been good, man. It's good to be back, man. Peace.